You know what? There's something I hear all the time. Students, yes, students just like you, send me messages and say, Mike, I can understand 80 or even 90% of what you say. It feels amazing. But why can't I understand other English speakers? Or sometimes they say, Mike, your lessons are so clear. I love them. But when I watch English movies or listen to native speakers, I feel completely lost. Why is that? Sound familiar? Maybe you've asked yourself the same question. Well, you're not alone. In fact, one of my students asked me this exact thing last week. Mike, how can I really improve my English listening skills? So I thought about it and came up with a simple plan. Not 3, not 5, but 8 powerful steps to improve your English listening. And today, I'm going to share all 8 steps with you. But before I do, I have one request. Please like this video, share it with a friend who's also learning English, and of course, subscribe to this channel. Why? Because my goal is big, really big. I want to help 1 billion students around the world gain confidence, enjoy the process, and finally speak English without fear. But I can't do it alone. I need your help. So again, like, share, and subscribe. All right, are you ready? Let's jump into the 8 steps to improve your English listening skills. All right, let's get into step 1. Study and understand naturally spoken English. Now, here's the thing. The English you study in books and the English you actually hear in real conversations are not the same. That's why so many learners tell me, Mike, I understand my teacher, but I can't understand movies or native speakers. So what's happening? Well, in natural English, we don't pronounce every single word carefully. Sounds get blended, reduced, or even dropped. Let me show you. For example, instead of saying, "What do you want to do?" most native speakers will say, "What do you want to do?" Or take the word little. Instead of pronouncing every letter, we often say little. That's called connected speech. Sounds link together and the rhythm and stress change the way words feel. Here are a few more examples. Trust her often sounds like trust her. Give him can turn into give him. Could have becomes could have, or even coulda. Even words like don't might lose the T sound, sounding more like don't. This is why step 1 is so important. You need to study natural speech patterns, things like contractions, reduced forms, linking sounds, stress, intonation, and even silent letters. And here's my advice. Don't just listen. Imitate. Play a short clip of a native speaker, pause, and repeat the sentence out loud. Try to copy the exact rhythm, stress, and reductions. That's how you train your ear and your mouth at the same time. Okay, let's move on to step 2, reading and listening together. This is one of my favorite techniques because it combines 2 powerful skills, reading and listening. Here's how it works. When you see the words and hear them at the same time, your brain makes a stronger connection between the written form and the natural sound. One of the best tools for this is TED Talks. Why? Because on their website, you can watch a talk and follow along with the interactive transcript. That means you can listen to a sentence, read it at the same time, and even click on a word to replay that part. It's like a built-in English lab. Another great resource is podcasts that offer transcripts, like the BBC's 6-Minute English. You can read along while listening, and then pause to practice repeating after the speaker. And don't forget about audiobooks. Pick a simple book and read the text while listening to the audio version. This is fantastic for improving pronunciation, vocabulary, and your sense of rhythm in English. The key here is interaction. Don't just passively listen, read and listen together. Pause, repeat, and even shadow the speaker. All right, step 3, write what you hear. Now, this one is powerful. Why? Because it shows you exactly which sounds or words you're missing. Here's how you do it. First, choose a short section of audio, maybe a 30-second clip from a TED Talk, a podcast, or even a YouTube video. Second, just listen. Play it a couple of times without writing. Get familiar with the speaker's accent, tone, and pace. Third, write it down. Play one sentence, pause, and write exactly what you hear. Then move on to the next. And here's the thing. You don't need to catch every single word perfectly. If you miss something, leave a little blank space and keep going. Later, go back, listen again, and try to fill in the gaps. Sometimes you'll be able to guess the missing word just from the context. Oh, and don't be afraid to slow the audio down. On YouTube, TED Talks, or even Audible, you can play the recording at a slower speed. That gives your brain more time to process what's being said. This exercise reveals your listening blind spots, and once you know what you're missing, you can work on those exact areas. Now let's move to step 4. Watch without subtitles. I know, this one can feel scary because subtitles are like a safety net. But in real life, when someone is speaking to you, there are no subtitles. So here's what I recommend. Start small. Pick just 1 minute of a TV show, a movie, or even a YouTube video. Watch that 1 minute without subtitles. Then pause and jot down a few notes. What did you understand? What words or ideas stood out to you? After that, watch the same minute again, but this time turn on the English subtitles. Compare what you understood with what was actually said. This technique trained your ear to listen actively. At first, it might feel difficult, but little by little, your brain will adjust. And if it feels too tough in the beginning, you can start with English subtitles. Watch the movie, hear the words, and see them on screen at the same time. Then, gradually challenge yourself. Switch the subtitles off and test your listening. That's how you build listening strength, just like building muscles at the gym. Okay, step 5. Expose yourself to diverse English and contexts. Now, this is so important because if you only ever listen to one voice, like me, for example, you'll get used to my accent, my rhythm, and my speed. That's good, but in real life, people don't all sound like me. So, here's the key. Don't limit yourself. Listen to different accents, different voices, and different speeds. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might think, oh no, I don't understand this person at all. But you know what? That's actually a good sign. It means you're pushing your comfort zone, and that's where real growth happens. Also, pay attention to different contexts. For example, try listening to the radio in the car where there's background noise. Watch a group discussion where several people are speaking at once. Or listen to a fast-paced podcast where the speakers interrupt each other. These situations are harder, but they're closer to real life. And here's another powerful trick. Try increasing the playback speed. Start at normal speed, then gradually push it to 1.25x, maybe 1.5x. At first, it feels too fast, but your brain will start adapting, and then normal speed will feel easy. So remember, Different voices, different contexts, different speeds. That's how you train your listening ears for the real world. All right, let's move to step 6. Select appropriate and engaging content. Now, this might sound simple, but it's actually a game changer. Because if the content is boring, you won't stick with it. And if the content is way too difficult, you'll get frustrated. So what should you do? Choose material that's both interesting and suitable for your level. If you love sports, find English podcasts about sports. If you're into video games, watch YouTube channels where gamers explain what they're doing. If you love stories, try audiobooks or TV shows. Here are some great options. Podcasts. For example, BBC's 6-Minute English. It's short, clear, and even comes with transcripts. Perfect for practice. TED Talks. A huge variety of topics with transcripts available. TV shows and movies. These give you context through visuals, and pre-recorded ones are better for subtitles. Audiobooks. Slower, clearer, and great for practicing rhythm. News broadcasts usually use simple, direct language. Comedy shows, a bit harder, but they expose you to slang and everyday expressions. And YouTube. There are channels on literally everything, grammar, vocabulary, or just hobbies you enjoy. And one more thing, try to keep your learning in English only. Avoid relying on amateur translations into your native language. Why? Because translations can sometimes be inaccurate, or worse, teach you broken English. Stick with English to English explanations whenever possible. So, step 6 is all about balance. Choose the right level, but also choose topics that excite you. That way, learning doesn't feel like homework. It feels fun. All right, step 7. Cultivate patience, consistency, and immersion. Now listen, this is not a quick fix. Improving your listening skills is a journey. And like any journey, it takes time, effort, and consistency. Here's what I mean. Surround yourself with English. Put it in your daily life as much as possible. Listen to podcasts while walking. Watch YouTube in English during lunch. Or play music in English while you cook. That's immersion. And here's the good news. Even if you understand a little, it still helps. Your brain is making connections, recognizing patterns, and training itself, even when you don't notice it. The key is to practice regularly. Pick one of the techniques we've talked about and stick with it for at least a week. Do it several times. That's how you'll see results. And most importantly, don't quit. As Donald Trump once said, don't quit, don't give up. And Oprah Winfrey reminds us, failure doesn't exist. Failure is just life moving us in another direction. So if it feels hard, that's not failure. It's just part of the process. Stay patient, stay consistent, and keep going. Now, let's finish strong with step 8. Expand vocabulary and grammar. This is your foundation. Without it, listening feels like trying to read a book where half the letters are missing. So here's what you do. Study vocabulary daily. Write down new words you hear and look them up. Review grammar basics. Understanding sentence structure helps you know what to expect when listening. Learn idioms and expressions. Native speakers use them all the time, and they often don't translate directly. For example, heads up means warning. Pull it off means succeed at something difficult. Cut someone some slack means be less strict with them. Back to square one means starting over. Good to go means ready. These phrases show up constantly in real conversations, TV shows, and movies. If you don't know them, you'll miss the meaning even if you hear every single word. Also, pay attention to verb plus preposition pairs like reflect on, work on, move on. They carry specific meanings and they're everywhere in spoken English. So, build your vocabulary and grammar step by step. That way, when you listen, you'll not only hear the words, you'll also understand them.